All right, guys, so here's the lesson that we're going to go through today. Remember, you definitely want to have your other document open while we're doing this today. So let me just go ahead and open that now. So I'm going to go to my awesome class. I'm going to look at today's, and here's the Google Forms that I'm asking you to fill out. So there's questions here that you need to answer as you're going through. Remember that you need to make sure that if you have a short answer, or if there's an answer here that requires some writing, you're doing a good job of explaining it. There's one or so that need just a one-word answer. The rest of them really require to think about what you're trying to tell me and really put some thought into giving me a good answer. So don't just cheap it out. Don't just give me the first thing that comes to mind. Really explain your thinking, please. So going back to here, let's look at this.
Hi, it's Doug. If you're someone who likes to eat bacon at breakfast, but you aren't always a fan of eating your vegetables at dinner, here's an idea for you to try out on your parents. You could tell them, I'm always eating vegetables. There's a way in which that's true. I mean, think about the food chain that's involved. Bacon is meat that comes from a pig. What do pigs eat in order to grow big? Well, maybe you don't know what pigs eat. So you look it up, and you find out that pigs on a farm eat mostly corn and soybeans. Corn and soybeans, those are plants. Pig meat somehow comes from the plants that the pigs ate. So there you go. In a way, eating bacon is really like having a helping of vegetables.
Well,
what if you don't eat?
Not really, but because if my kids maybe try to tell me that would work, I'm not sure I would believe them. But let's see what Doug says about that.
Bacon. Say that you prefer hamburger instead. Well, no worries. Again, think about the food chain. Hamburger is meat from a cow. What do cows eat? They graze on grass. Plants again. Not a fan of hamburgers? Okay, so let's consider chicken. What do chickens eat? They eat seeds. Again, that's plants. But now, just for fun, let's say your chickens are wild chickens. So they're not just eating seeds, they're also eating the occasional little beetle. But then what do those beetles eat? They eat plants. So you get the idea. Everything comes down to plants. Every time. When you follow the food chain. And not just for human beings who eat meat, but for any animal that eats any other kind of animal. When you ask the question, what does it eat? And you keep asking that question, you always wind up back at plants. So if all these things in the end are just eating things that eat things that eat things that eat plants, it makes you wonder, so what do plants eat then? Well, let's consider that today. But let's not think about just any little plant. If we're going to talk about what plants eat, we might as well talk about the king kahuna of all the plants, the largest plant in the world. It's this. It's actually the largest living thing in the world, larger even than any animal. It's a tree. We're looking up, looking up. Keep going. I'll wait for it here. This kind of tree is called a sequoia. All sequoia trees are massive like this.
So just a quick pause here. So we have already talked about sequoia trees. We already looked at this a little bit in the PhD mystery. And we started to talk about how massive these trees were, right? They were the length of a football field. And we started to think about how did they get that big, right? They start from a small seed. So this mystery is a little bit in the same venue, but we're going to keep working on it and kind of dig in. This is kind of an interesting one. I know one of the questions that we struggled with is going to be answered in this mystery. So we're going to keep going, but you've seen this sequoia tree. So we're sort of bringing it back to some of the things we've already done, but we're going to keep going with this.
But this particular one I'm showing you is the biggest of them all. It's an individual tree growing in eastern California. It's so large that it's even got its own name. People call it General Sherman. General Sherman weighs, are you ready for this? 4 million pounds. That's the same weight as about 300 elephants. But where does all that 4 million pounds of tree come from? It's tempting to think that sequoia trees like this are just always huge. They just exist. But walking around on the forest floor, you can find these. It's a sequoia cone. It's like a pine cone.
And we talked about this cone. We talked about this pine cone, right? We talked about how they're small. And here's one. There's somebody's actually holding it in their hand.
You'll find that inside are the seeds of a sequoia tree.
Right? Those look like little oatmeal.
Started out once as just a little seed like this. No bigger than a grain of oat from your oatmeal. How did it get so big? How does any plant gain weight? If we were talking about a person or an elephant instead of a tree, then you'd have some easier guesses. You'd say, well, living things like animals and human beings, they gain weight because they eat food. But plants? What do plants eat? Do they even eat? What is a plant's food?
So just real quickly, what do you think plants eat? Do they even eat? I know that we've talked about this with how do the plants get bigger? They don't eat the same way that we do, right? They don't have mouths where they're putting food in their mouth, but how do they get bigger? So we've sort of talked a little bit about that. And we certainly started to look at in our last experiment with the seeds that we started, how do they get bigger? We looked at what different factors might be contributing to it getting bigger.
So you might be thinking that plants eat dirt, right? That's what lots of people assume is true. And that's a perfectly logical thing to think. I mean, plants grow in dirt. Or what in scientific language we often call soil instead. So that's what I'll call it from now on. Plants have their roots in the soil. So maybe the roots are eating that soil. For hundreds of years, this is even what scientists assume to be true. Plants must be eating soil, they thought. They assumed that soil was where plants get their weight from. But no one had ever actually checked to see if this was true. Eventually, one scientist, this guy, got really curious about this. He wondered, are we sure that plants eat soil? And he came up with a very clever experiment, which he hoped would help him solve the mystery. Here was his idea. He decided that he would plant a young tree in a pot. Now, before doing that, he would carefully weigh the tree and the soil that he was going to place into the pot. The tree weighed about 2 pounds. The soil about 200 pounds. After weighing and planting the tree, he watered it and made sure that it got all the sunlight it needed too. A few years later, once the tree had grown to be bigger like this, he took it out of the pot again and measured the weight of the tree and then the weight of the soil. Do you see his idea here? Remember, the original weight of the tree was about 2 pounds, and the original weight of the soil about 200 pounds. After the tree had grown, the tree now weighed about 160 pounds. So the tree had gained a huge amount of weight. But now what about the soil? If the tree had been eating the soil, if soil is a tree's food, then what do you think he would discover when he went to weigh the soil?
So that's the question. The first question on the Google Forms that I'm asking you. If the tree is eating the soil during that 5 years that it's been growing, what do you think is going to be, the scientists will find? So the first question is the study, what do you think that he would discover when he went to weigh the soil? So what do you think he's going to discover? Is he going to see that there would be, the soil would be, there'd be more of it, there would be less of it, or it would be the same amount? And I'll fix that so that it says weigh, because we're really talking about the weight of it. We're not talking about how much space it takes up. We're talking about how much it weighs, because that's how he originally measured it. So make sure you answer that question before you move on.
So where did General Sherman get all the material that it's made of? All that bark, all the wood inside the tree? How did a tree get to weigh 4 million pounds? Was it all from eating soil? Let's look back at that scientist's experiment. After 5 years, once his small tree had grown and gained weight, he carefully took it out of the pot, he weighed the tree, and he weighed the soil. The tree weighed 160 pounds. It had gained a lot of weight compared to the 2 pounds it started at. But to his amazement, the soil had barely changed in weight. It started at 200 pounds and now was only just 199.8 pounds. It lost almost nothing, just the tiniest amount. So that 158 pounds of new tree, it couldn't have come from the soil. The scientist Van Helmont was convinced. Plants don't get most of their weight from soil. His experiment showed it. Mystery solved. Sort of. Because think about it. If plants aren't getting their weight from soil, we still haven't solved where they do get their weight from. Van Helmont thought about this. Now, the only thing he knew he'd added to his young tree during those 5 years of its growth were sunlight and water. Now, he knew that even though all plants need sunlight itself wasn't adding any weight to the plant. Sunlight's a form of energy. It's not a material. Scientists today know that plants use sunlight for their energy, but they're not made of sunlight. Sunlight doesn't weigh anything. So that just leaves water. If you cut open a plant, even if you cut open a tree, you can feel some wetness. So there's evidence that water is part of a plant. The scientist who did this thought, well, maybe plants somehow create their weight just from the water they take in. Or to put it another way, he thought, aha! So maybe plants don't eat. They just drink. But Van Helmont could only think this because there was something he didn't know yet. He didn't know that there's another material that plants take in besides just water. Much later than his lifetime, scientists using microscopes discovered something very interesting on the underside of plants' leaves. It looks like this.
So just to stop us there, we've covered a little bit of this already. So we talked about what are the 3 things that that the plant needs to grow, and we've talked about sunlight being one of them. And we said that they need soil. Whoa, I'm not very good at this. Soil, water, and air. So we know that. That's certainly not a question. But so we know he's missing something, right? If he's looked at soil and he's looked at water, what is he missing? So they looked at the leaves, and this is what they're seeing. These are kind of, well, let's see what they are.